Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
If you have a really serious medical diagnosis, do you want to listen to your doctor or do you want to listen to your politician? To me, it's pretty clear you want to listen to the doctors, you want to listen to the public health experts, and not let the politicians drive the timeline.
Dr. Ashish Shah, absolutely correct. Listen to your doctor. Listen to the doctors. Listen to the politicians. Don't listen. And the sad thing is that's all too often what happens in just about everything. We turn to politicians, and more people do it, to be the arbiter, to be the person that makes everything fair and equal as far as, outcomes, to be one of these. I mean, it's insane. Don't listen to your politicians. You guys have a job to do. Go to your job. There are things that we're going to need you to do. That's why we send you there. That's why we have you. This is the system we have. It's the best system in the world. Doesn't mean it doesn't have its flaws. We're not going to get perfection. You know why we'll never have perfection? Because you're human beings. You don't get perfection because you have human beings involved. I was talking yesterday to former governor of Arizona, Jan Brewer, and we were talking about, parties. And because I was giving a tour about Donald Trump. I said the night before, he sucked. I said, for Donald Trump, it was a C performance at the town hall. Now, was it fair to say that he, Fox said he was ambushed? I don't know if he was ambushed, but I will tell you this. The whole way it was kind of spun originally is these are undecided voters, and it felt at times like they had made their decision up. They were here to kind of lecture the president, but he failed. And I said, she's very Republican. And I said, Republican is a party. Conservatism is ideas. Democrat is a party. It's a business. It's a corporation. The ideas that people have that lead them to become Democrats, they're just using that as a tool. But the spirit of it, and that's the problem. People say Republicans are bad or liberals are, Democrats are bad. No, the ideas are in theory, they all sound great. It's the hijacking of those ideals by the likes of each party because they have agendas that frustrate people. You listen to your doctor, right? You listen to your doctor, listen to a couple doctors, and people say, and to Dr. Jaws, at times I can disagree with science. No, with the way that science has become political, because much like everything else, they're also human beings. Somebody writes their check. Somebody pays them. So how do you want this to look? Do you want this to be this? Do you want this to be that? Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you need this? I'm hiring you for this. And it can be that way. And it's frustrating. It is. It's frustrating. And it came to a point yesterday where you saw the president come out after Redfield, who's the director of the CDC, came out and talked about masks.
These face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. And I will continue to appeal for all Americans to embrace these face coverings. If we did it for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, we'd bring this pandemic under control. These actually, we have clear scientific evidence they work, and they are our best defense. I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, because the immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine's not going to protect me. This face mask will.
And by the way, immunogenicity means he takes the shot. There's a 30% chance he still may get this, where if he wears this face mask, it's almost 100%. Trump comes out and Trump does what Trump does yesterday.
A lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good.
That was the night before, right? A lot of people. And then they talked to him about Trump, about Redfield, and what he said. Remember, politics, science, all of those things. You just sit there and you're like, what in God's name are you guys doing? You guys are coming out and you're talking about, you're talking it from a political side of view. And I get that as a politician, that's your gig. Trump's out there talking about, well, maybe he didn't get it, right?
I believe that if you ask him, he would probably say that he didn't understand the question.
Didn't understand the question. So he's the director of the CDC and he didn't get the question.
I don't think he means that. I don't think when he said it, I believe he was confused.
Over the vaccine, over all these things. Because he also came out and said something about the vaccine, when the vaccine was going to be ready. When's the vaccine going to be ready? That's a fair question, right?
Well, I think as Dr. Cadillac said, I think there will be vaccine that initially be available sometime between November and December, but very limited supply and will have to be prioritized. If you're asking me when is it going to be generally available to the American public so we can begin to take advantage of vaccine to get back to our regular life, I think we're probably looking at late second quarter, third quarter, 2021.
Which is what we've kind of been saying here for a very long time. I think there'll be a vaccine. Pfizer's already come out and said probably next month, middle of next month, we'll have the results and enough data to say if we can go forward with this, and then it may be available. Who's it available for? First responders, doctors, nurses, people on the front lines that are out there, people that are most vulnerable, people who have diseases, pre-existing conditions, the elderly. But for the rest of us, no, it may be a while. And let's be honest. The rest of us, we're going to be okay. If you're healthy, and even if you're in your early 60s to mid 60s and you're healthy, you're going to be fine. But the battle goes on, and it's always something else. And this is the frustration people have. But it's politics. Don't think the left doesn't do it either. Because you look over there and what do you see? You see the likes of here comes Joe Biden to talk about the vaccines because he's got something to say about this. And of course he should be. He's running for president, but he throws his political side into it.
So let me be clear. I trust vaccines. I trust scientists, but I don't trust Donald Trump. And at this moment, the American people can't either.
So you're not going to get one? Well, you guys have hinted at that. You've hinted on more than a few occasions. It's crazy, but that's politics. Do I trust the scientists? You know who I trust? I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. I trust lawyers. What do the lawyers think? The lawyers that represent these companies. Do you believe that these are safe, Mr. Lawyer? Why? Because if the scientists tell you it's safe, if you look over everything and you say to yourself, okay, we will have very minimal lawsuits and fallout from this, then I'm good with that. Because it's about money for the companies. It's about power for the politicians. For us, we just want something that's effective. This is what happens when you have stop looking. This is the other thing I've been telling people over and over again. Stop looking at political parties as that's Republican, it's red and blue. You know what they are? They're corporations, and they're fighting for your vote because you're a consumer as far as they're concerned. And the more of those consumers they have, the better it is for them and their bottom line, which is power. And that's both sides of the aisle, and it is frustrating. You take good ideas, then political parties come along and they take those ideas, and from those ideas, they figure out how it can benefit them. And the spirit of which you thought this would work, the spirit of what you thought this was going to be about is destroyed. And that is frustrating. It's hijacked. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Hope all is well with you. Unemployment numbers in about the same as they were last week. Nothing too exciting. Here's the reality of the world of unemployment. We're kind of holding steady. People are still looking around, trying to figure out exactly what is going on in the economy, because you have some states that are half open, some states that are 3/4 open, some states that are 1/4 open. Some businesses in states are totally fine to operate. Other businesses are operating as a skeleton crew, if they're operating at all, and people are frustrated. They're absolutely frustrated. They're looking around asking, what are you guys doing to fix this issue? Because through no fault of our own, we've been told that we can't operate. And here we are. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program. Love hearing from each and every one of you. I just love today. Wake up, it's great when you wake up, right? You got Friday coming tomorrow. It's a little Thursday, Friday light, relaxing. Got the U.S. Open on, a little golf. God, it's a good day. Some NFL tonight. By the way, so Big Ten is back. Pac-10, we're still waiting. But it'll be interesting because what I'm hearing now is we're going to talk about what baseball may be doing for the playoffs and how some NFL teams and some college teams now are saying it's okay. We're going to start letting people come back and attend the games. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It is called Car Shield. Your cars last longer. They're on they're on the road much longer. The average car, I think, is about 11 and a half years old. And it's not because some people can afford a new car. And they're just like, eh. And for other people, hey, they're looking to save as much money as they can in this day and age. But they would also like to know they have some sort of protection if something goes south. That's where Car Shield comes in. Car Shield gets you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car if your car goes in the shop. And if it does go in the shop, you choose the shop. They get them paid directly. You pay a small deductible. Maybe you're interested in the inside of your car as far as the electronics go. Maybe it's your transmission. Car Shield is a plan that's right for you, that fits your budget. In fact, they start at $99 a month. And depending on what it is you need, you call 800-CAR-6000. Use that code Benson. When you do that, you save 10%. It's so easy. 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%. Be specific on what it is you're looking for. Protect your car and protect your bank account. You can also check them out at carshield.com, carshield.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
The governors of California and Oregon say they will not stop schools from resuming contact practice and a return to competition. With that, the Pac-12 says it is telling its schools to inquire with local health departments in their counties to find out what they'll allow. The Pac-12 saying it's eager for student athletes to be able to play this season. It comes as California's COVID-19 positivity rate has now plummeted to 3.6%.
So Big Ten is coming back. You can play 8 games. They're going to have some sort of playoff thingy or whatever. And the whole goal for them is to be done on December 19th, which is to play their championship game. That way, when Ohio State rolls over whoever they roll over, that the next day they'll have the selection for the national championship playoffs, and that Ohio State may be a part of it. The Pac-12, the big fear was for them, in even thinking about this, is Gavin Newsom is going to poo-poo the California schools. He's not going to do that, by the sounds of it. So now what? I think they could be ready, and I think they could be playing right around the same time, which would be awesome. It would be. And people are saying, like there was an article by Christine, was it Brenneman in, I think it was USA Today yesterday, hammering the Big Ten for coming back. And I read it and I was like, that is, it's like saying it's the worst decision in the history. It's the worst thing that's ever happened. And I'm like, it's football in the time of coronavirus. Well, it's bad. There's nothing ever's been as bad as this. And I'm like, there's a lot of other things that have gone as bad as this. And Clay Travis, who I enjoy listening to, who's getting a lot of flack, he gets a lot of flack because here's a guy who's talks sports, but he's pushing some sort of agenda. Said, so Larry Nassar and Paterno and the cover up at Penn State with Sandusky wasn't as bad as these kids who wanted to have a say in playing. That's the insanity of which we live. That's what happens when politics gets involved in anything. So Nebraska, the fans and the players were suing the Big Ten, and then you've got Ohio State making lots of noise. It was weird, and I said, this is what's happening: is people are making certain decisions. Like, should we do this or should we not do this? Several months before it happens. I mean, you're hearing things now, like Tucson yesterday is like, well, we're going to cancel Halloween. I'm like, Halloween is 6.5 weeks away. You're canceling something already now. It is insane. It is absolutely insane. Well, Chad, somebody said to me yesterday, so what, you care more about money and stuff like that than death? I said, no. Stop being ignorant. Let's take a look at all of the data. Kids going trick-or-treating, it's not going to kill anybody. My God. Well, it could. No, it's not going to. You can find safe ways to deliver candy to the children. You go buy food at the store. Well, the germs and this, that, and the other. People are dressed up. They're wearing masks. We need to stop with the insanity and the fear-mongering. Again, we've allowed politics to get into a health crisis. Politics and pandemic equal a giant mess. I think we realize that now. Usually politics plus something equals a giant mess. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Senator, it doesn't look like the two sides are remotely close to a stimulus package. Is it safe to say that it would take a miracle to have one by Election Day?
Well, it may take a political miracle to have one, but we're actually not that far apart on substance. State and local funding may be the exception to that, but there's a compromise to be made there so long as it's justified. In other words, it's actually needed and there's a way to bring that money back and repurpose it if it's not needed.
A deal. How hard is it to get a deal done? It's hard. Why? Because as we've been talking about throughout the entire morning, day and evening, and for months and years, as people look to this world of politics and these parties as some sort of, this is kind of who we are, this is what we're about, this is the most important thing. And what we find is they're corporations. That's all they are. They're in it for themselves. They're in it for the power. Do I think people go there and some people have this idea of things they would like to do for the American people? Yes. But I think for all intents and purposes, the machine itself, for all the crap that Trump gets, and trust me, he gets a lot of crap, as he should, when he talks about the swamp and the alligators, and yes, the sharks, there's no in swamps. Oh, there's sharks. There's bull sharks. When he talks about that, that's real. And that's the machine. It shouldn't be hard to get something done. What do we have to do? We have to compromise. Nancy, you want X amount of trillion. We think this. You think it's a little too skinny, right? We went over here and we were looking around and all of a sudden we're like, hey, we got the Karen Carpenter bill. A little too skinny, right? You don't like it. We're looking over you and you got the Fat Albert bill. It's a little too big. Why don't we meet in the middle? Have a healthy bill. But let's get some stuff done that needs to be done. The problem is, if there is no clear winner or benefit, then they're just going to shut it down and say no. That's not it. It's not that hard. My God, it's about compromise. It's not that hard. It's amazing. It's amazing how we function. People say, I don't know how we do it. You know how we do it? We do it. You and I, the everyday average American, going about their day, doing the things, getting out in society, spending money, adding to the economy, doing the things that we do. It's despite them. That's why we need a strong third party. Competition's fantastic. The more competition, the better it is for everybody. You know, people keep saying, who are you going to vote for? They ask me all the time. I said, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I said, I joke about Giant Meteor and Kanye. I look at like Joe, Dr. Joe Jorgensen. I would love to have a strong third party with the Libertarians. My problem with the Libertarian Party is too often they jump the shark. And because they've jumped the shark, it's tough to have anybody who's there that you go, oh, I could take that person serious. If that makes sense. I like some of the stuff that she talks about. And everybody's like, well, the Libertarians got mad at her because she was all about wearing, well, she's a doctor. So, of course, the mask thing is real. She understands it. It's nuts. It's nuts the way that we've allowed this to happen. We can't get a deal done because we agree on most things. The things we disagree on is the political stuff.
But on the other stuff, think about it, Neil. Everybody wants to extend the PPP, which is the program for small businesses that expired on August 8th. So everybody wants that. The testing, we had $16 billion in our bill on Thursday that was considered the targeted bill just for testing. We want that in Ohio. We need it because we're doing a lot of testing at our nursing homes and elsewhere. Think of all the sports teams that are testing now. We have a lot of need for that. So I think there's a lot of similarities, actually.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of similarities. But Nancy in the House, she's got the control. She's interested in the politics of it. She's not interested in the progress and the solution. Mitch is also playing the political game. And while I think he's more flexible, but you're seeing what's happened. The moderate Democrats came out and they said, hey, you know what? We think we should compromise and we should do some of these things. Let's get some stuff done. And you go and you look around and what do you find? No, we're going to shut it down. We're not going to allow that. And when they talk about the blue wave, remember the blue wave that happened a couple years ago? That blue wave wasn't AOC's and the Rashid Tlaib's and the Ilhan Omar's. That blue wave, the majority of them were common sense moderate Democrats. You would think all that was put in there were socialist and communist because those are the ones who get the headlines. The reality is that wasn't it. People that you think they're part of the corporation, they've used the tool of the Democratic Party to get themselves elected because they feel like they can do good. And then they get in there and they realize they're running up against something that is as political for the Republicans, well, it's as political for them, the Democrats, as well.
The money for schools, as they're beginning to reopen, in the Republican proposal, the targeted, the smaller proposal on Thursday, we put more money in for schools than was in the HEROES Act, the $3.5 trillion Democrat proposal. So it's hard for them to say it's not enough. I mean, it was actually $105 billion, which is slightly more. So I think there's a lot of similarity, even on unemployment insurance. Remember, it was $600 federal supplement, then it was $300, and almost every state, all but two, applied for it. That's now gone.
Yeah. And people are frustrated. People are frustrated. It's it's about the win. Just think about that. It's about the win. We used to joke with one of our coaches, Coach Ron Bolak, love Ron. just a man who, after my father died, was in my life long before even my father died, when all the things were going on in my life. One of the few, who was always there for me, a mentor and a father figure for me. We used to always joke with him, though, because he had like a uniform company on top of the fact that he was our club coach. And he was a great guy, still is. We call him Coach all the time. I see him on Facebook and everybody calls him Coach. And, all of us have gone on to, some of us to be doctors, and, me being in this little dog and pony show here and all these things. And I used to always joke, hey, Ron, coach. It's not whether we win or lose. It's how we look doing it. And in politics, yeah, the win's important, but the look, especially in the social media, that matters.
I think what the Democrats are saying politically is that they're winning. In other words, somehow Republicans are getting blamed, even though we're the ones putting out a proposal last week, even though the president's saying he's for it. I don't think the speaker's feeling a whole lot of pressure. Plus, I've heard from Democrat colleagues, that she thinks she'll get a better deal after the election. She'll have more leverage somehow. I don't think that's necessarily true, by the way, regardless of the results of the election. So let's get the politics out of this thing. Let's forget who's winning, who's losing. Let's do what's right for the American people.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. Right for the American. Let's get the politics out of it. You can't. Where I think the average politician, the one who goes to, doesn't matter whether, they go to their state capital, they work in the local government side of things, they go to D.C., they go there and you don't really hear much about him. I've got a politician here that I consider a friend. He's a nice guy. He's not in my district. We chat a lot. You would know the guy. Even people, it's funny, we have several Democrats that work here and they're very vocal about, who they support and who they like and don't like. They're like, we love him. He's just the nicest guy. He goes there with the right attitude, but he's like, you go uphill because, you go there and you don't get heard. And if it's not sensationalism anymore, if it doesn't squeak, scream, yell, get likes, clicks, retweets, any of that stuff, there's nothing. And that's the thing. To get the politics out, you have to get the politicians out. And by that, I mean the people that care more about how they look doing it than whether or not it gets done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from you. So, Big Ten is coming back.
Hoping that eventually, if things start to clear up a little bit, if they have better procedures, that we might have the opportunity. The oval, and on the oval, they have circles circled out.
Talking about fans. Now, Tennessee, the SEC kicks off their football season next Saturday. So not this weekend, next Saturday. They are going to have 30,000 fans. I think their stadium holds about 100,000. So it's only going to be about 30% full. In some of the college games over the weekend, I was really surprised at how many. It's funny because the student section, they're just all next to each other. They spread out in other places. Tennessee, the Titans are going to announce that their home games in October, that they will start to have fans. I think you're going to see this more and more throughout the NFL as we move forward. The other thing is baseball is going to have 8 teams from each, the American League, National League in the playoffs. The higher seeded team will get a 3-game, like best of 3, home series. Then I think, from what I understand, they're going to move into either Arizona, Florida, California, or Texas, and they're going to go into a bubble, but they will potentially allow fans into that, which I think will be good. We've got to start getting back to some normal way of life and show that we can get through this, around this, live with it at this moment in time, and be safe doing it. And take out the politics. We want to be individuals. That's what we thrive on in this country. Then we need to show respect, some common sense, and decency to each other. It's not that hard. It isn't. You want to act like an adult? We got to show, hey, we're adults. Let us act. And there's going to be individuals out there that are idiots that march through Target with, I'm not wearing a mask. It's like, shut up. Put your damn mask on. It's not that, well, Chad, they're taking away my freedom. It's not your company. It's not. We'll go over this again. Costco tells you hey, we've decided the new policy is top hat and tails. What do you have to wear if you want to go in there? Well, top hat and tails. Okay, then. So let's just get through this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. That's what happens when everyday average Americans allow politics to get into their life. Good God. Oh, Rough Greens. Is Doodle famous? Yeah, Doodle. It's funny. I get at least one or two people a day ask me. So I went to roughgreens.com/Chad. You go there and you can see what Rough Greens is all about, how it's not a dog food, but there's supplement. You can see my dog Doodle. And they're like, he's real. I said, of course he's real. So my dog Doodle's about 11 years old, 10, 11. We got him. We thought he was good, like 5, 6. And they said, nah, he's probably 8 or 9. So had him for a couple years. And he had arthritis. He had fatty tumors on his hips. It just wasn't working. We tried everything, and we thought about putting him to sleep because he become bitey and nippy when you get near him. So we tried Rough Greens. You sprinkle it on the dog's food. It brings the dog's food to life, and he loves the taste of it. And in about 10 days, the difference was insane. And here we are now, about 6 months into him taking Rough Greens, and he's a whole new dog. It's got anything you could think, antioxidants. It's got probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. It's got, fruits and vegetables. It's got all of these things. It's amazing. It's $14.95, less than $15, less than $15 to get your fur friend, your best buddy, something that is going to keep them healthy. Do what I did. Get Rough Greens. Go to ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MyDog88, 833-MyDog88, less than $15 for a 14-day jumpstart. It'll be the best thing you do for your dog. Ruffgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Let me show you something. Late night sketch comedy made Jim Carrey a star on In Living Color. Now he's taking his talents to Saturday Night Live, where he'll be playing Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden. SNL executive producer Lorne Michaels tells Vulture that Carrey will play the role for all of season 46. Biden has previously been played by other guest actors, SNL veteran Jason Sudeikis and Woody Harrelson. The new season of Saturday Night Live kicks off from its studio in Manhattan, October 3rd.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's nobody in the Hollywood type that has probably a disdain for Trump more than him and would love to see Biden, but it's comedy. And that's what you want to see, right? You want to see, that was the beauty of Saturday Night Live. When I was growing up, it didn't matter who was president. They were going to be the butt of the jokes. Same thing with like Johnny Carson. And it's not that way now. It's not. They've changed, as we all know, and it's all become super political. And, late night is nothing but it's like the Colbert is essentially a Democratic talk show where every night he has on Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris or some, it's funny. You sit there and watch it. Johnny Carson, it's just Johnny, went out. Didn't matter who it was. Reagan, he's going to hammer Reagan. Carter was going to hammer Carter. Right? Ford, absolutely. It didn't matter. I mean, Abraham Lincoln could have been president, and he was going to get jokes. As we talked yesterday about the woke culture. Not the woke culture. As we talked about that, it's the truth. Truth is it didn't matter. Comedy should challenge. Comedy should offend some sensibilities. Comedy should be uncomfortable. And most important, it should be funny. It should be funny. Because when it's funny, it's probably going to offend some people. Especially if it's talking about everyday life. And if it offends some people, it's going to make some people think. It's going to challenge the norms. So we'll see how Jim Carrey plays it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Being of sound mind, would never, ever, 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 ever do this. Take a bus. People take buses sometimes. And I'm not talking about like the street bus, this, that, and the other. I wouldn't do that either. Well, Kentucky, there was an issue.
A young lady who resides in Louisville, Kentucky, with her boyfriend fell victim to started out as domestic assault and ended with her untimely death. The offender in this case had dismembered her body. This suspect then, after sitting on the body for what we now believe to be at least 30 days, transported some of these remains to Markham, Illinois. And early reports are a suitcase, a tote, and maybe a bag.
On a bus, on a Greyhound. Don't take the bus. Don't take a bus. You have a hitchhike. Chad, don't tell people. I'm just telling you guys, hitchhike. It is safer. Just get in with the hitchhiker and just look over as you're driving along and say, hey, what are the odds that both of us are serial killers? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program, check out Chad Benson Show TV. Try to put up new content all the time. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I have people ask me all the time, the Trump supporters are so stupid. They really believe all the things that he says. No, I said, there's some people out there that buy into a lot of his stuff. But I said, you see that there's 38 or 40% of the country that supports Trump, and you think every person, I will tell you, it's a small few that buy into what he says. Well, how can that be? They must believe it. No, they don't. I have friends who are huge Trump supporters, and they like Trump because he makes everybody uncomfortable. They like Trump because he calls people out on their BS. They don't believe they don't believe 90% of what he says. Well, why did they vote for him? Because they wanted the system to be shooken up. That's why a lot of people voted for him. I think his handling of the economy was great. I think what he's done with some of our foreign policy, people don't want to talk about it. You know, yesterday I mentioned that Trump, what about North Korea? Well, he lobbed missiles, at Japan. I said he did, and he shut it down really quickly. And he's not really done much. Let's be real. And if we're going to be honest about it, Trump didn't give him a nuclear weapon, right? Pops, his dad, played the world for fools, but he's been pretty damn quiet. Middle East been pretty quiet. Pulling back some of the stuff he's done, the action-wise, I'm totally fine with. But what people miss, especially Democrats, where they miss the mark on Trump supporters, and this is big. I want you guys to understand this. Stay with me here on this. Is people think that it's this cult, and there is some cult of that. There is some cult of personality that goes with Trump. But a lot of what it is he pisses everybody else off. Well, that's a stupid thing. No. For years and years, the domination of the coast, L.A., New York, even some Republicans, it felt like a good portion of America was overlooked. They joke about flyover country, but it wasn't just that. Flyover country, you could be in California, and you're getting flown over if you don't have a certain political belief. And that everybody who's a Republican is a homophobe, knuckle-dragging, Bible-thumping nut job. And Trump came along, and he's like, those people are clowns. Those people will call you that, who think that way. They're asshats. Don't listen to anything they say. They're full of crap. My uncle is the huge Trump supporter, and he's a troll. He doesn't believe 90% of what Trump says. But he likes the fact that Trump pushes back. My uncle is, so my family, we had a weird, wacky tree. If you saw my uncle, he's Mexican. Are you Mexican? Yeah, I've got Mexican in me. Oh my God. He hates the pandering and the BS. He likes action. He likes the pushback. He likes a lot of that stuff. You know, he said, Chad, I'm watching I don't even know what you describe it, the bizarre, weird, hey, I'm going to take out my phone, Joe Biden, and try to hold on a second while I fumble with my jitterbug phone or my consumer cellular, and I'll push this button. Oh, look, it's Latin music. Look at me dance around. You guys like me. He goes, that is the most embarrassing thing on so many different levels. Where the Democrats and where a lot of people in the media miss is everybody believes that, hey, you voted for Trump, so that must mean you're a Nazi, you're anti-Semitic, you are, and they just run down all of these things. And you believe everything he says. And you'd be surprised. Like, nah, I take everything he says with a grain of salt. Now, I'll look at some of his actions and I'll judge off that. But everything else I take kind of with a grain of salt. I just like the fact that he pushes back. Well, that's not a good thing. No, it kind of is a good thing. The one thing we all have said, and both sides, that's what we've been talking about. We look at, stop looking at these as political parties. Look at them as corporations. We need more competition. We need more competition. But when I look at this and I look at the pushback, for years, people feel left out of the political process. That pushing has come now, and they're pissed off, and they don't like it, and they're angry. And Trump's evil, and he's bad, and all these people who like Trump are evil and bad. It's not. You guys are missing the ball on so many things. And that's why the likes of Bari Weiss was brought in to do the opinion piece, because New York Times got it all wrong in the last election. They were like, wow, I can't believe all these people feel that way. Of course not. They've been underrepresented in your thought process. We only see the bad on television. And that goes for both sides. Do I think every Democrat is a socialist, nutjob communist? God, no. Who do I see on TV running around on the right side of the media? It's nothing but Antifa people. Those people aren't interested in politics. They're interested in anarchy, chaos, craziness, and most importantly, figuring out a way that they don't have to grow up and get a real job. Do they represent the Democratic Party? Hell no. The average Democrat, pro-union, fine with marriage equality, pro-choice, getting on with their life. Not too dissimilar from the average Republican. But we don't see those people. That's the underrepresented, even though we're the majority of the country, the silent majority, the exhausted majority. Quite frankly, we should be the pissed off majority. Trump came in and he upset their apple cart. He pissed off the Republicans because he has no ideology. He's not an ideologue. He doesn't follow anything. He's not sold for anything. There is no, like, I am this person. That doesn't exist with Trump. He plays beyond hard and loose with the rules. He doesn't understand 99% of the crap that goes on in, why can't we just get it done? Why can't we just do this? These people suck. My party sucks. You suck. He attacks everybody. It makes them all uncomfortable. And I'm okay with that. Look, do I think he's going to win? I don't know. But what I do know is we're missing the mark when it comes to actually connecting. And we're doing that because we label people. Well, you wearing a red MAGA hat automatically means that you in some way, shape, or form are some sort of racist, Nazi, homophobic, Islamophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, phobic person. When really, you're like, no, I'm just me, and I'm watching this, and he's making you uncomfortable, and I kind of enjoy that because you've already labeled me something, and the fact that he makes you uncomfortable and emotional and angry, well, that's my comeuppance to you. He's the voice that they didn't have. But when you go out there and say, God, it's a cult. Yeah, there's a certain cult. It's a brand. He built a brand. Great article in Axios about how he built this brand where you've got, boat parades and all of this wacky stuff. But for a majority of Americans who have supported Trump, they support the idea of what Trump is doing. They like some of his actions, but do they believe him 100%? No, they don't. They like the fact that he calls the media out for a bunch of crap. They don't like the fact that he argues all day with the media. They like that. We need more of that. The media is not the enemy, but you know what? Some of them, they do need to be held accountable. They do need to be pushed a little bit. Michael Steele's the former Republican head of the party itself. He goes after him. And I like that. He makes him uncomfortable.
I'm exhausted. I'm exasperated. At this point, it's like save who you can save. The fact that we have to literally beg people to wear a mask to save their own dumbass from getting sick. I'm sorry. To me, it is beyond the imagination. I am just so exhausted with this president at this point in the face of what we see happening.
We have to beg people to wear a mask. No, I think some people just like twisting the screws of other people. You should wear a mask. Not a fan of it. But you can't tell me that this hasn't been overhyped. It has been overhyped. The fear-mongering, the insanity, the lunacy, it's all there. You got to beg them. They're a bunch of idiots.
We all knew this was coming, and yet this administration has done jack about it. This president stands at a podium today and not only contradicts his CDC director, but basically says he perjured himself under oath before Congress because he is saying something different from Donald Trump. The CDC director is telling us the truth, and Donald Trump is literally lying to us. And yet 40% of the country looks at it and goes, yeah, I'm with stupid.
No, they don't. They just like the fact that you're screaming and yelling and upset. That's it. They do. Well, that's stupid. And no, it's not. It's not. People want to have their voice. We talk about that. We wanted Washington shook up. We've talked about that. Is Trump chaos? Oh, absolutely is chaos. Is he frustrating? Absolutely he's frustrating. But to think that 40% of the country buys everything he said, that is telling the 40% of the country, you guys are stupid. Too stupid to understand. No. You guys just aren't getting it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Wounded Paw Project, been working with them for a while. They're an amazing organization. So what they do, and I'll give you guys a quick snapshot of it. They rescue dogs. So they go in, and they'll go into a kill shelter, and they'll rescue dogs that would be euthanized, and they train them for veterans, first responders, and their family. For veterans, some of them it's PTSD and struggling to get back into society. And for some other parts of veterans, it's the physical limabilities because of injuries. And for our first responders, you see what they're going through, and it's also for their families. And it is an amazing organization, and they need your help. Right now, you can donate through the gift of a vehicle. Donating is easy. You can go to Wounded Paw Project. Come out, pick it up. You don't have to worry about anything. Great tax-deductible gift. They also take cash as well. And you can go to smile.amazon.com. And there, you can set your supporting group to help Wounded Paw Project. The other thing that's just amazing about that, they take all of the proceeds. They go to advocate, protect, and train these animals. And when you see the stuff that they're doing, it is truly amazing. Go look it up for yourself. Go to woundedpawproject.org. Find out how you can help. woundedpawproject.org. woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and see what's trending right now. U.S. Open golf trending number 1. What? Love it. Watching it. Be watching it all weekend. It's enjoyable. It's number 1 trending. Big Ten football. Despacito, still trending. People are sorry. Is the pandering of the whole thing. And if you've not seen it, I just go look. Just that's all you got to say. Just go look at Biden and just it's just bad. Like take the politics out of it. Some other things trending. Head on over to the world of what we like to call Twitter, and the reason we go there is because we like to see who's hating each other right now. And it's pretty simple to see. Lots of disdain for Trump, as usual. Constitution is trending. Michael Steele, who went after Trump and basically, insulted the 40% of people who voted for Donald Trump by saying, these people are, I'm with stupid. And I just laugh at that. I laugh at that. AG Barr's trending because he criticized the Department of Justice prosecutors and equates them to preschoolers. The usual stuff. Soros is trending. George Soros. You don't know who George Soros is. He is he's the boogeyman of the right. He is, and look, he is. You read his stuff like he is a former. I still think he has hedge funds, but he's worth I don't know what he's worth now, 30, 40, 50, 60 billion, depending on the day, all of them. But from a trading side point, I used to read all of his stuff when I was younger and I was in the financial industry because Soros was the master of Forex and things of that nature. And he's a Holocaust survivor. And he is a guy, though, that is extremely left, socialism, just super one world order. I mean, you could point to a lot of things, but he funds a lot of stuff on the left. And, some of that stuff is very questionable. Some of that stuff is very questionable. How money gets to some of these things. And now they're pointing out some of the stuff that he did do and some of the things that he has funded that even some other people are asking some questions about when it comes to. Do I think he's the mad evil genius? I think there's some stuff there that's real. You can look. I mean, you get that kind of when you read a lot of the stuff that he's done and some of the stuff that you get the feel that there's some stuff there that he would like to see. And he's like one of these people that, he's got all these billions of dollars and then in some way has a disdain for capitalism and certain things and has a lot of, some really wacky ideas and he throws money at it. So do I think he's the boogeyman? No more a boogeyman than the Koch brothers were. But everybody's got to have a boogeyman, right? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Check out YouTube, Chad Benson Show TV. It is the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Claims represents a slight decline from the prior week, but is still the 26th straight week of historically high figures. For a half year now, Americans have been laid off and applied for unemployment benefits. The extra $600 a week the unemployed had been receiving is long gone. and new economic relief has not materialized.
No, it's not. Larry Kudlow was talking about it earlier because one of the things they've talked about are they maybe going to do some things where, 80% of Americans are still working. So unemployment is probably about 15 to 20%. So 80% of working Americans are working. Some maybe working part-time, but there are some industries that are still crushed. And the food and restaurant industry is. And Larry Kudlow earlier, economic advisor to the president, they asked him, what about a targeted thing? Because he talked about that in the past.
I don't want to rule out other things. From time to time, we've looked at and talked about tax deductions or tax credits. I know it got very, very badly hit and so forth. My heart goes out to those guys, but I don't want to be too specific.
Yeah, nothing too specific when it comes to restaurants. Some industries, are frustrated. They're looking around. Certain states, California, they're looking around going, what are you doing, Gavin Newsom? What is going on? What's happening? Can't open this, can't open that. You can only do this, you can only do that. You can have this, but you can't have that. Yeah, you can cut hair, but you got to do everything outside. I mean, there's all this weird. People are frustrated. Industries. And Yelp came out today and said, based on the reviews and the things that they're looking at and their metrics, and even if their metrics are, let's take away 10% of their metrics. They said about 60% of businesses, especially restaurants, may be gone. Now, that will open up opportunities for other restaurants. Some of those, they will never come back. Other people who've owned those restaurants will come back because they've just decided, hey, you know what? We're going to punt on this, and when everything seems to smooth out, we'll take our losses, lick our wounds, and we'll come back and do something else. But that's huge because those are jobs that for a while will not come back. All the while, people are still looking around going, what's going on? What are you guys going to do? Why are you not doing anything? Because that's what they do. And then when you hear Kudlow come out here and say,
we have a lot more work to do, but to deny the tremendous progress of folks going back to work and the economy in a V-shaped recovery and the unemployment rate coming down much lower and faster than almost anybody thought, to deny that is just really bad.
Is the economy booming? No. Is it better than I thought it would be? I will say, yeah, I was a little bit more pessimistic. And part of that, it has nothing to do with the federal side of things. It's all who's your governor? How's your governor handling this? So I think the economy's still on some decent footing, but it's not great. People are still struggling. But it's not everybody either. We tend to forget that. We don't look on the positive side. We think that, unemployment's at 18 or 20%. Yeah, it is. 15 to 20%, depending on where you are. The reality is, though, 80%, 85% of Americans are still working in some way, shape, or form. Now, they're nervous. They're not thinking about certain things that they would maybe in a normal situation be thinking about, like where are they going to take vacation? Should we add on to this house? Should we do this? Should we do that? They're not thinking about, they're not doing some of those things. They're holding off a little bit. But they're still working. But everybody needs to start figuring out what you can do. And even if you're not going to do a second stimulus, look, here's the other thing. At some point, just say, look, we're not doing anything right now. This is it. It's not happening. Don't give some of the people hope, and then it goes down, and then more frustration and hope, and then, oh my goodness, is this going to happen? And just punt. If you're going to punt, and we'll move on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. Now, we live in a world of chaos and craziness, and this is just the perfect example of what life is now when it comes to school and home. This is a kid, 12-year-old kid. Zoom, because that's what you do right now. That's what we're doing. We're Zooming. So he's at his home. I'm painting the picture. He's at his home, at his house, on a Zoom call.
This is the toy gun, a green and black zombie hunter with an orange tip that led to Isaiah Elliott's 5-day suspension. The 12-year-old has a collection of toy guns, but his parents never thought he'd be suspended because of a toy that never left his house.
He's in the comfort of his own home. For the school to expect for there not to be any type of toys or anything around someone's home, it's pretty ridiculous.
So, are you guys soaking that up? Toy guns, Nerf guns, it's a zombie hunter. Jack has several of these. They're green and orange, and they like zombie hunter on zombie hunter. You can tell, like Stevie Wonder can go, oh, that's not a real gun. Like I can see it from here. It's not a real gun. That's what I'm talking about. At his own home. So paint that picture. In his home, sitting there, doing something, listening to the dronings and on of teachers, and the teacher complained. Oh, teacher did more than that.
Danny Elliott.
For them to go as extreme as suspending him for 5 days, sending the police out, having the police threaten to press charges against him because they want to compare the virtual environment to the actual in-school environment is insane.
What a teacher noticed in a virtual class prompted the principal to call El Paso sheriff deputies. The teacher said she assumed it was a toy gun, but was not certain.
If her main concern was his safety, a 2-minute phone call to me or my husband could have easily alleviated this whole situation.
If your teacher cannot look and go, that looks pretty plastic to me, like, what was he doing? Like, was he jumping up going, I'm going to bust a cap up in here? Like, what was he doing? A 12-year-old kid is sitting there probably, and he's bored, and he's probably got the guy, he's flipping it around like it's an old Western kind of movie. And he's not saying, you know what, I'm just going to, these people, you guys don't even know. I mean, it's like, you guys, well, I'm curious. Like, teacher's like, I thought it was a play gun. You thought? You didn't bother to ask mom and dad? You didn't decipher between the zombie hunter green? You couldn't look it up. Just a Glock, zombie hunter green. What is this? No. They call the police.
He was playing with the toy gun on this side of the couch, picked it up, moved it to the other side of the couch, and just flashed across the school computer screen for maybe 1 or 2 seconds at the most.
It would have been a lot easier for me to understand if my son had made a threat.
Now they say their son has been traumatized by deputies telling their 12-year-old this could potentially lead to criminal charges in the future.
He was in tears when the cops came. He was just in tears and he was scared.
As he should be. First of all, you're a cop and you show up and you say, look, like, this is where the common sense of the world goes. Look, this is what we get all the time. We had to come out. We're sorry about that. We think it's stupid too. Obviously, it's a toy gun. We're moving on with our lives. And then when they talk to the school, they're like, oh, yeah, we totally threatened him. We maced him. Then we tased him, bro. Don't tase me, bro. So let's repaint the picture. 12-year-old kid on a Zoom call for school, sitting on the couch, bored to tears, moves his zombie hunter gun, where there's no zombies, from one side of the couch to the next. Teacher thinks, sweet Jesus, he's building an arsenal. I'm going to call the popo. I'm not calling mom and dad. Didn't threaten anybody at school. Like, I could see if, I guess, in this day and age, in this climate, but you're in your own home. You're in your own home. So, suspended for 5 days. From what? Hey, remember when you used to have to go to the couch for 5 hours with the computer? Yeah, well, you don't have to do that now.
The Whitefield District Number 3 instead emailing a statement that reads in part, "We follow all school board policies, whether we are in-person learning or distance learning." But Isaiah's parents say safety was never a true issue, and suspending their son, who has been diagnosed with ADHD, helps no one.
I definitely feel as if they crossed the line and they were extreme with their punishment.
An 11-year-old boy in Jefferson County also suspended 5 days for a toy gun seen during his virtual classroom.
Yeah, good God. Virtual signaling, insanity. This is what's going on in our schools. It does get frustrating. So my mom walks by. I'll give you a little snapshot. So I have brothers and sisters. Little, if you're new to the show, if you bear with us, if you've listened to this before, my mother's adopted my nieces, my nephews, and there's like 5 million of them. So I've got a sister that's 25, all the way down to a little brother that's soon to be 8. And then I've got a brother that's 10. And Elijah's got a lot of problems. ADHD is the least of his problems. He has defiance disorder to the point where his psychologists recommend that he maybe be put in a home. And my mother's like, kiss my ass. It's not going to happen. But he's got dyslexia like nobody I've ever seen. And he's got his IEP, and he has a special class. So online learning is doubly hard. Doesn't really grasp a lot of things. She walks by the computer the other day, and they're teaching him about Black Lives Matter. And it's been going on for a couple days, he says, and social justice. And my mother just clicks out, and the teacher's like, "Why'd you do that?" And she's like, "Because he needs to learn how to read. He needs to learn how to write. He needs to, this other stuff can come later on if that's the necessary part of this. But politics and these kind of things, he doesn't need to see the George Floyd stuff. He needs to learn how to read. He needs to learn how to write. This is what it's all about. It's special ed. And this is what you're teaching him?" Yeah, she was pissed. And I hope they don't look around the room there because, woo, does my family have an arsenal of Nerf guns you could not believe. And he's the kind of kid that said, "I'm going to get you." 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me. Text your program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. The love, the hate. Masterclass. It's incredible. You can get sucked into it. Masterclass is just, it's so amazing. So people ask me, is it like, how cool is it? I said, look, imagine like really learning, like you've wanted to turn something you've always dreamed into, like a hobby into potentially a career. You've been curious about something. And so, or maybe you just want to learn how to cook, and you're like, man, it would be great if like, I don't know, Wolfgang Puck taught me how to cook, or, it's Jodie Foster taught me about the movie industry and what it's like. So what Masterclass does is it's got all of them, 85 different masters of their crafts, and they teach you. It's about 10-minute lessons, and there are about 20 of them per class. You get downloadable material to help support it, workbook, exercises, recipes, and you go at your own pace. You may consume everything at once, and you're going to start to find that you were never really curious about something, but you're curious about learning. And so then you go, well, I'd love to learn about this. And you go over and you learn about it. I love to learn about finance. I'd love to learn about, stocks and commodities. I love to learn business, this, that. And you're getting taught by the best in the world. It's amazing. You can do it on your phone, your computer, your tablet. And right now, for being a Chad Benson Show listener, unlimited access and 15% off an annual membership, which is so inexpensive. You're going to get a master's degree of education, knowledge, and worth for something that is so inexpensive. So inexpensive. Save 15% right now. Go to masterclass.com/Benson. 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 Chad Benson Show.
No fake outrage here. Just the real thing. The Chad Benson Show.
Kanye West's main bone of contention seems to be ownership over his music, publicly calling out his labels Universal Music Group and Sony over the last few days on Twitter, calling the music industry and the NBA modern-day slave ships. Wednesday morning, he decided to post what looks like every page of his contract with Universal on Twitter, writing that he wants ownership over his master recordings and will do everything in his legal power until all artist contracts are changed, and there is no NBA or music industry without black people. Black masters matter, he says, and he will not stop.
There you go. So, black masters matter. I could see the ownership. side of things. You know, you think, I don't know how old the contract is. I mean, you had the same thing with Prince, right? A lot of artists that way. And look, on the business side of things, you put a lot of money into artists. You put a ton of money into artists. And for every one Kanye, there's 1,000 who suck. And they don't get anywhere. You think, oh, I got a record deal. I'm going somewhere. You know how many people I know have had a record deal? Or were close to a record deal? And people throw money at that. And they do this, and they give you X amount of dollars to go out and, to make an album. And you go out and you make that album, and they put tons of money into the promotions of all that. They're not recouping any of that money unless they're a hit and there's a tour behind it. But you can also do your own thing now. That's the beauty of it. You don't need all of those things that you used to have. But you've also got to figure out how do you find strategic partnerships and help with the distribution and all of those things. I'm surprised that this is as bad as that. Because it's a contract that you signed. So your lawyers and your agents and your managers probably should have said this. He said he's not going to make any more music until he's just going to run for president until he gets his contract. And that's the way. It's like sports, right? Like, I'm not showing up anymore. I want a new contract, so I'm just done. I'm not going to be here. I'm not showing up. So what do you think of apples? What are those apples? And then sometimes the player flinches. And then sometimes the teams flinch. And you know when somebody's undervalued. They're like, we got to make this right. We got to deal. We got to steal on this guy. Or gal. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at us. Text the program as well. I'm pumped. Football's coming back as far as the Big 12, which really only means Ohio State. I know that I got a lot of pushback. What about Michigan? What about Wisconsin and all? Look, Ohio State's the team. Like, that's the one. Like, if you were going to say who could go play in the SEC and be competitive, you're like, Ohio State. and that's it at this point. Wisconsin will have it. But playing those teams week in and week out where you're like, well, we were 10-1 last year, but you wouldn't have been 10-1 over there. You'd have been 5-5 with a tie if you're lucky. 5-6, 6-5. So I'm pumped. Pac-12, are you next? Are you next, Pac-12? Are you going to do it? Or are you not going to do it? Are you going to sit back and let everybody else have all the fun? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the YouTube. Go there. Try to post stuff daily. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Donald Trump could certainly still be elected president, but this isn't 4 years ago. And the reality is the overwhelming majority of this country profoundly disapproves of the job that Donald Trump has done. And the question, like it always is for an incumbent president, is are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And there's an incredibly small number of people who can answer that question in the affirmative.
Steve Schmidt. No relation to Mike. Steve can't hit a curveball or a fastball or anything. Am I 4 years better? Am I better off? Yeah, I'm better off. Is it because of Donald Trump? No, it's not. It's not. Was I better off when Obama was president? Yeah, every year things got better for me. Was it because, and when things struggled? No, those were choices I made. Not President Obama to make those choices. To be like, hey, why don't you guys go do something with Chad over there? Make sure that he screws up. Or why don't we give him a little love? No. That's just stop that. And now, if this was a regular time where we weren't dealing with the coronavirus, we didn't have politics and pandemic all rolled into one, I think most people would say, yeah. Like, some people are great at being front runners, and some people are great at being underdogs, great at coming from behind. And that's what this is all about. We have a crisis going on. Some of it is overblown and manufactured because of our silliness and our doom scrolling, where we search out the most negative and we allow the algorithms to continue to play on that. And you see that even when you're searching on WebMD. I mean, how many times do you go to bed at night and you're like, my back hurts a little bit. Next thing you know, you're like, I think I've got cancer. We doom scroll. We look for the worst. Trump has 3 chances to deliver a knockout blow to the American people that can reset the American people and say, okay, let's see what he can do. Do I think he's going to do that? I have no idea. The crisis is real. We can't ignore it and say, well, if it wasn't here, well, it is here. You either agree with or disagree with the way that he's handled things. And I think a majority of Americans, even Republicans, aren't thrilled by the way that he's handled things. I think some of the stuff that he's done good went completely unnoticed, or he was criticized for early on. China, things of that nature. It wasn't fast enough, even though when he did do it fast, he was criticized for things of that nature. But I also think he underplayed, not upplayed. He underplayed some of it in the sense that it was a nuisance rather than the attention it deserved.
The country is in obvious chaos, obvious decline. We face disasters on multiple fronts. He's a person who's divided the country. He's desecrated his office. He's weakened America globally. As this comes to an end, though, the ending of the American way of life, it's on Donald Trump, and he has no plan. And that's the closing message that Joe Biden's going to have to deliver. He has to take the presidency from Donald Trump, and he has to do that by confronting Trumpism fully, squarely, directly, and honestly.
Steve Schmidt right there. First of all, the American way of life is not destroyed, so let's all just settle down. Okay. Secondly, there's not chaos. We've had hurricanes and we've had wildfires. Those things happened long before Donald Trump got there. He makes it seem like, we never had a fire before. I've never seen. What is this? What is this? What is this thing that's going on? What is happening here with the rain and we've had that this is nothing new. It's like, he didn't cause it, right? He didn't. No. So. In the American way, there's chaos everywhere. I don't know, man. I'm looking outside. Looks pretty nice. I'm going to go hit some golf balls today. I'm watching the U.S. Open. We got a pandemic, and that sucks, and that's a bit chaotic and frustrating. And the chaotic and frustration is very frustrating to all of us. But let's be real for just a second. I'm going to put it into some good perspective. Because remember, they're paid to say outlandish things. So let's put it in a perspective. These are such first world problems. As much as it sucks. And it does. And I see it. But we have a lot of first world problems. Our kids are able to go to school online. Not everybody, and that's a problem that we need to rectify. But a majority of the children, they're able to go to school online. Right? That's kind of a first world problem. Would you give me that? For those of you who listen to me because you can't stand me, that's kind of a first world problem. When we talk about chaos and crazy, that makes it seem like everything is on fire, and that 2-block radius, of fighting that goes on in Portland or what has taken place, that's in every city street, and that we're 5 minutes away from every natural disaster and all. Stop it. Now, could this have been handled better? I think we can all agree yes. Can I blame Trump for everything? No. I will give prop to Trump when he does something good. He did something great this week with Bahrain and with Israel and with what's going on with United Arab Emirates. There apparently, from what my sources say, there's one or two other ones that are really close to normalizing diplomatic relationships with Israel. We've had a pretty peaceful few years in the thought process of us going to war, especially coming out of the Bush administration. And I'm going to say it, out of the Obama administration, where secret drones, the thousands upon thousands of bombs, the getting into Libya and Yemen and all of these things, it's been pretty peaceful. It has. We haven't gone into World War III. Are we better off 4 years? That's it. Every person needs to ask that question. But the question you also need to ask yourself, is it government the reason that I'm better or worse off? Or did I make choices that put me on those paths? And government can get in the way. But most of the time when government gets in the way, it's your local government. They're always doing something, right? Like people are leaving California and New York, high income earners and people like job. You know, it's funny. People say, well, you know, I love California and no matter what anybody says is look at all the jobs and stuff. But the people who create jobs are leaving. People may be moving in some areas, but those aren't job creators. The job creators are leaving. Oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Why? Not because of the federal government, because of the local government, which is always more important in the way that you attack your political voting. Is those are the most important races. Your assemblymen, your city council, your state senators and congress people, those races, so important. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at me, text the program as well. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Whether or not we get a vaccine, this year, I don't know if we're going to get one this year. That's the funny thing. I do believe we're going to get a vaccine that's going to be approved. And I think it's going to happen soon. And I like the fact that Trump put pressure. Remember, in many of these things out there, and you feel it as a kid, you feel it when you were in school, as an adult in the working world, there are things that you have to do. There are deadlines you have to meet. Close of business by today or tomorrow means we need this done by today or tomorrow. In politics, they don't really follow that logic. It'll get done when it gets done. And that's not it. So I like the fact that he's put some pressure on and held some accountability. Is it optimistic? I'd rather be optimistic than pessimistic.
I think most in the medical community would agree that President Trump is being overly optimistic. Remember, even after clinical trials are done, it'll still take some time, even at a rapid speed, to get approval. Whenever a vaccine is approved, it won't suddenly change what we're doing, and that it will still take over half a year for us to get back to some resemblance of our pre-COVID lives.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that because yesterday CDC Director Redfield he and Trump didn't seem to be on the same page, and he said something about a mask and a vaccine, when the vaccine will be widely available, and I think that's important to mention too. So there's a lot that goes into this, but I like overly optimistic. I mean, there's realistic, but there's optimistic, meaning, look, realistically, it's going to be probably November, December, early January. Optimistic is we're going to have this thing ready with enough data that says this thing's safe to use. And if we work, maybe we get some of these things out earlier this year. Nothing wrong with that. Too often, I think we look at the pessimist. I don't know if it can be done. I don't think it can be done. What do you think? What about... My old boss used to say to me, Jeremy, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. I like that. Let's get some solutions. We've got a time frame, ASAP. This isn't, hey, here's a bridge, and it's going to, you guys have 5 years to build a bridge. It should take 2 weeks. Let's do this. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Feel free to tweet at me, text the program. I always joke about that. When I was in Palm Springs, where I used to live, when I first moved in there, they were they were doing something to the overpass. So it's an overpass. It's already there off the 10 freeway. And it took them 3 years to widen it a little bit and to put on an on-ramp. It took them 3 years. And I was like, what is this about? Like, what are we doing? Like, every time you'd get off the freeway, it was a new way of cones that you had to go through to get on to where I was going. And it was insane. It was just absolute. It got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to get off and exit early because I don't even know what they're doing anymore. That's government at work. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Purple, you know, they make mattresses, but you also might be surprised to know they make pillows. Much like it, built in the same way. They got the grid, the patented technology. You're never going to sleep too hot. You're never going to sleep too cold. You're going to be always on the cool side of the pillow, and it is amazing. I sleep so incredible. And last night was another one of those situations. I went to bed at about 9:30. I got really into one of the gun smokes, did some other stuff, and I woke up at 2 o'clock, 2:30 this morning. I didn't move. I was out like, my deep sleep was like 4 hours. It was amazing. It was. And my naps on the weekend, I don't worry about it. It's just awesome going to sleep. They offer financing up to 0% APR for qualified customers on anything over $200. Do it. Get it. Check it out for yourself. You're going to be in love with what Purple Mattress offers. Go to purple.com/Benson. Use promo code Benson 10. So Benson 10. You get 10% off any purchase over $200. That's purple.com. Benson 10 is the promo code. Purple.com. Benson 10. Limited time. 10% off any order. $200 or more. Purple.com/Benson 10. Purple.com/Benson 10. Terms apply. Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
You know, I think overall, we can likely push Vice President Biden in a more progressive direction across policy issues. I think foreign policy is an enormous area where we can improve. Immigration is another one. Criminal justice is another area where we can pursue a lot of progressive direction.
That was AOC on the street. Somebody asked her, criminal justice. By the way, remember, somebody got criminal justice reform done. It wasn't perfect. Nothing ever is. For some people, it didn't go far enough. For some people, it was too far. But Trump got that done. Obama didn't get that done. Trump did. He doesn't get any credit for it. It's everything, and this goes back to where my frustration comes in, and why when people get mad at the media is so many people want to hold Trump accountable for everything that goes bad. But when something good happens, he gets none of the credit. And that frustrates a lot of people, like me, for instance. Because then people come out and say, well, why do you hold? I do hold him accountable. I do. You don't listen, because all you want to hear is me bash Trump. And for those of you out there get mad at me because I hold him accountable for stuff that I don't like what he did, all you want me to do is praise him. Trump did get stuff done. And he didn't do some of the things he said he was going to do. I don't expect every president or politician to do a majority of the things they would like to do. It's not the way we work. Our government's not set up for that. It's set up to battle each other, to have some sort of give and take, trade-offs, but it makes it difficult so we don't have wild swings on our political world. We'll see, though. And that's what, right there, like, to me, if I'm Trump, and Trump is having trouble running against Biden, because nobody hates Biden. Nor should they. You shouldn't hate anybody. But there isn't this political disdain like there was for Hillary. So, you know, you run against the fact that he's Sleepy Joe and he's got issues, and that's a fair questions to ask. I think the way he does it at times is, but that's the audience he's playing for. On the other side of stuff, People are worried that the progressives are going to be the dominant ones in the White House. They're going to push for things that even some Democrats are going to feel uncomfortable with. That they're going to have an us versus them mentality. Let's do all of these things in such a way that it reshapes America in the looks a little bit more uncomfortable. Yesterday, was it Judd Apatow was talking about, we should be influencing China, not China influencing them. And somebody sent me a direct message that says, well, maybe China's doing some things right. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, it's insane that you even think that. Instead of government, though, it's us. And the way that we go after each other, and the way that we call for censorship, and the way that we, it's crazy. If you want more government control, which a lot of people do, you want government to basically try to legislate equality of outcome, then you're going to jump with the Democrats. But there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And usually the outcome is, ugh. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
These face masks are the most important, powerful public health tool we have. And I will continue to appeal for all Americans to embrace these face coverings. If we did it for 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks, we'd bring this pandemic under control. These actually, we have clear scientific evidence they work, and they are our best defense. I might even go so far as to say that this face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine, because the immunogenicity may be 70%. And if I don't get an immune response, the vaccine's not going to protect me. This face mask will.
That is CDC Director Dr. Robert Redfield talking about the face mask yesterday on the Hill. And what he was saying about immunogenicity is, let's say the vaccine is 70%. He feels that his mask, the N95, he's not wearing that one like, oh, this looks cute, it matches my outfit kind of one. He's wearing, the real deal. That is better protecting him than potentially a vaccine. Good. That right there, you know what that says to me? We should be out living our lives. Got to wear a mask for a while. We got to build up some herd immunity, not turd mentality or whatever Trump said the other day. Herd mentality. Come on, it was funny. It's not funny. Trump, what do you think about masks?
A lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good.
Come on now. So what did Trump think about that? Well, there's a couple ways to unlock some of this stuff. First, Redfield also came out to talk about vaccines.
Well, I think as Dr. Cadillac said, I think there will be vaccine that initially be available sometime between November and December, but very limited supply and will have to be prioritized. If you're asking me when is it going to be generally available to the American public so we can begin to take advantage of vaccine to get back to our regular life, I think we're probably looking at late second quarter, third quarter, 2021.
All right. First of all, let's all agree that Dr. Cadillac is a cool name. Producer Phil, name my band.
Love it.
Right? Dr. Cadillac. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, Dr. Cadillac. And the Porsches. So, that's something to think about. How do we go about saying that it could be 2021 when Trump's coming out and talking about all kinds of hey, it's coming here tomorrow, it could be this. Look, I like Trump's optimism, and I do agree that I think within a month, By the end of next month, by Halloween, we will have a vaccine that's ready to roll. But he's not talking about when it's here. You could say it's here, it's done, we've got it. Doesn't mean it's going to be distributed.
But then he said that the vaccine for the general public likely would not be available until probably next summer, maybe even early fall. Are you comfortable with that timeline?
No, I think he made a mistake when he said that. It's just incorrect information. I called him, and he didn't tell me that, and I think he got the message maybe confused. Maybe it was stated incorrectly. No, we're ready to go immediately as the vaccine is announced, and it could be announced in October, could be announced a little bit after October. But once we go, we're ready.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to say it's probably somewhere in the middle. I bet by March, April of next year, people will start to have the opportunity to get it. I think by this November, December of this year, some people will start to get it. Some people will start to get it. The people that are what? The most vulnerable.
That includes a plan to ensure that we swiftly deliver the vaccine directly to America's senior citizens in nursing homes, and it's all set. We have our military lined up. Everybody's lined up.
That's what I think is it's going to be about. It is not a situation where we have it and it's going to take forever for us to get it. No, we're going to target the people that are most vulnerable. Seniors, people who have pre-existing condition, and most importantly, on top of all of that, are first responders. They're going to be the ones that are going to get it first, and everybody else can come second. As long as you're wearing a mask, you're going to cut it down. If you get some of those N95 masks, according to Redfield, you're going to be able to potentially even be safer. Unless, of course, you aren't wearing eyeglasses. What?
It's important to note that we don't know exactly why this is. That will require a more randomized control study. It could be that they're touching their face less, or it could be that individuals with eyeglasses just have different habits than other groups of individuals.
Yeah. They're saying people who have eyeglasses potentially are 5 times less likely to get this. Because, so that means we got to wear glasses? We got to wear those weird, like, glasses? You know, when you work in a wood shop? You guys remember the movie? What's that movie? Major League. Rick Vaughn, played by Charlie Sheen. He had a control problem when he pitched. He threw the ball like 100 miles an hour, but it was all over the place. They called him Wild Thing. Remember? And then they were going to send him down to the minors, and the guy's like, take a look at this guy here. He went down to the minors, and he squinted, and he looked, and he goes, what? And he's like, can you see? And they gave him glasses, and they're like, it'll be worth it. And Denzel's like, not Denzel, but Wesley Snipes all. It ain't worth that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Vaccine's coming, kids. All right? We're going to be fine. We're going to get through this. And when we do, we can start to focus on some of the other things that we need to worry about, like the fact that the millennial generation and Gen Z are idiots. Chad, that is not very nice. And I blame a lot of that on the fact that, I don't know, they're going to school that doesn't pay attention to history. We use history as a roadmap of the things that we did right and the things that we're not supposed to do. Can we agree on that? Like, they did this right. They did this wrong. This was amazing jump forward and leap into the world that we see today. We went from this to this. It was amazing. Technology, this, that. We use it as a roadmap. We also look back and say, this was awful and horrible. This should never be repeated. This is evil and bad. We're not doing that, apparently. Case in point, a new survey. 11,000 interviews from across the country. Samples of respondents from the ages of 18 to 39, led by a task force that included Holocaust survivors. This is about the Holocaust. Here are 2 things that came out of this, 2 words. I'm just going to throw these 2 words out there that people say about the Holocaust after they saw this study. Shocking and saddening. to understand what took place in the Holocaust, to understand Adolf Hitler, the regime, the Holocaust itself, the anti-Semitism, not just in Germany, but throughout Europe. But to understand what took place, just know that nearly 2 out of every 3 European Jews, were killed, annihilated by 1945. Just soak that up for a second. You guys understand that? You're smart, you read, probably watch the History Channel, things of that nature. Just, I'm putting that out there. And the reason is, and this is scary, 63% of those surveyed between 18 and 39 did not know that 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust. Over half of those thought, hey, wasn't it like 2 million people? Oh, but if you think that is something, if you think that is something, when you start to dig deeper into this, you start to realize, oh my God, what are these kids learning? Like, I knew about the Holocaust. Well, okay. As a kid, I knew about the Holocaust. I was always interested in history. I was fortunate enough to travel, even as a young kid, when we went and played in some of these countries like Germany. I spent a lot of time in Germany when I was a young kid. So we went to some of these places, and you kind of got an idea. I mean, you didn't know the magnitude at like 10, 11, and 12. And then my best friend, Raymond, his grandparents were survivors of the Holocaust. They were survivors, not just like, oh, you fled. No, they tattoos. They were in, Birkenau, the whole 9 yards. So I got a little bit of an understanding and talking to them. But I wasn't, I'd known what happened. I mean, obviously, they don't go into like everything that happens. But this is what starts to get scary. 11% of them believe that the Jews caused the Holocaust. Soak that up for a second. 11% believe the Jews caused the, didn't they do it? Here, get ready for this. Respondents in New York, Indiana, and California, which do require Holocaust education, were most likely to believe the Holocaust is a myth or exaggerated at rates higher than 20% of the surveyed population. Respondents in Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Massachusetts rank the highest in Holocaust knowledge, even though those states do not require Holocaust education. That's scary, just from a educational standpoint. That's scary. Oh, my God. Didn't the Jews cause it? Weren't they Didn't they, really? Wow. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Most respondents, they say, learned about the Holocaust in school. They said a lot of it's incomplete, and you get that. I mean, you've got a finite time. You're trying to teach a lot in a short period of time. But you should know the big details. Right, we should be aware of the big details. 22% thought it was World War I. Okay, get ready for this. So 5% thought it was the Civil War, and 3% thought it was Vietnam. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, your Twitter. Hello Fresh, a little chicken last night. Doing the low-calorie HelloFresh right now. So the way that HelloFresh works now, for me this week, is I went low-calorie. Jack was here, so we had the family-friendly options because, he's a 10-year-old boy. He likes to eat, and so we had to add extra meals. I'm doing low-calorie, and it's awesome. It's great. It's easy. It's delivered straight to my door. The money I'm saving, the food is delicious, right? You get 22 chef-curated recipes. They got vegetarian. They've got low-calorie. They've got the family-friendly options that are just awesome. But for me, on top of all of that, it's easy. I work a lot. Sometimes I'm here at 2:30 or 3 in the morning. I don't get home until 7 o'clock at night. I know that sounds crazy. I love what I do, but it makes my life so much easier that I don't have to plan. The headache's gone. I just go. I do it. It takes about 20 minutes. But then I started looking at my bills over the last year compared to now. And I'm like, wow, am I saving huge? Well over 50%, but on average about 40% versus shopping at the grocery store. You can add meals. You can skip meals, meaning maybe you need to add 2 or 3 meals because, people are coming this weekend, or maybe you're going to be gone for a week and you want to push pause. You can do that. Go to HelloFresh.com. Get America's #1 meal kit. Find out how easy it is to not only save, but eat some of the best food around. And it truly is fresh. Use the promo code Benson. When you do, $80 off your first box and free delivery. HelloFresh.com. $80 off your first box. Free delivery when you use promo code Benson. HelloFresh.com. Promo code Benson, $80 off. Free delivery, first box. Chad Benson Show.
Experiencing separation anxiety? That's dumb. Check out Chad 24/7 at his website, ChadBensonShow.com, and on iTunes, free. The Chad Benson Show. Never feel lonely again.
The governors of California and Oregon say they will not stop schools from resuming contact practice and a return to competition. With that, the Pac-12 says it is telling its schools to inquire with local health departments in their counties to find out what they'll allow. The Pac-12 saying it's eager for student athletes to be able to play this season. It comes as California's COVID-19 positivity rate has now plummeted to 3.6%.
Yeah, so is that going to happen? Well, the Big Ten announced yesterday they're coming back, and they're going to do it in such a way that they're going to play 8 games and have some sort of little mini playoff for the conference championship game, apparently, that will look like it could get who would be the conference champion and the regular 8-season schedule champion potentially into the college football playoffs. Translation, Ohio State. So that's going to be interesting to see if the Pac-10 pulls a trigger on this and does something. It's in their court. A lot of people were looking at Gavin Newsom yesterday saying, yeah, what are they going to do? Because we were hearing rumblings here that because Oregon's governor came out immediately and said, look, if the Oregon teams want to play, we are not going to stop them. We'll do everything we can to facilitate that if the colleges want to play. And so I think Newsom felt like, well, I better figure out something. And we were hearing rumblings that what if USC played here in Arizona? Wasn't going to be the Pac-8, but they're willing to go it. So is it a possibility? Yeah, I think they will. I think they'll figure it out. I wouldn't be surprised that they figure it out and probably come back. These guys are in condition. They're probably, they were, I don't want to say they were semi-practicing, but let's just say on their own and individually in groups, they were probably putting some work in as a just-in-case scenario, especially over the last 2 weeks as things started to ramp up and it felt like this could be something. So I'm kind of pumped about that. We'll see. Next week, the SEC kicks off. There's more football this week. So this will be cool. And fans want to see it.
The players wanted to play. The fans wanted to see it. So I think it's going to be a really good thing for the community.
Yeah, across the board. I think it will be. Now, how many fans are you going to put in there? I think for the California schools, you may get 0. So that may be 0. But for other places, you're going to find out. I mean, this past weekend, I was watching the NFL. They had 2 teams. The Titans announced that are supposed to announce here in the coming days how many people are going to allow in October, what the percentage is, and I think we'll start to see that build up. The NFL has several other teams are looking at. Tennessee's going to have 30,000 fans for their first home opener football game. So this will be interesting moving forward. It's a step back into the normal way of life. And if we are just smart enough, wear our mask and not be idiots. People say we should social distance. Look, I'm hanging out with my buddies. We're having fun. If we're being safe, you can't live your life in fear. You can take calculated risks and do everything you can to mitigate it without making things miserable. That's what we should be aiming for. And instead, we figure out a way to make ourselves miserable because, the thing called politics. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program, do what you do. Love hearing from you. Check out Chad Benson Show TV. Go there. We try to put content up as much as we can. We're getting ready to do a new thing called Politics and Putting. We're going to go out and play 9 holes. We got people polar opposites end of the world as far as the political view, but the commonality is they both enjoy golf. We're just going to go out and have conversations, laugh, hit balls, hit some horrible shots, and see if we can find common ground on things besides just golf. You have a blessed, wonderful day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Oh, my God, is that? It is. It's Friday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.